A few weeks ago, I went into a 7-Eleven near Pacific Beach wearing this shirt right here. And the young man behind the counter saw the logo and he asked about it, so I proceeded to tell him about my church. He said that he used to go to church, but he stopped going, mainly because he thought that the people there were putting on a show. He said they would drive up in their Lamborghinis. I might need to go to that church and check that out myself. But he said they would drive up in their Lamborghinis, and to him, it all seemed fake. I said, yeah, I get it. Sometimes people do go for the wrong reasons. But then I tried to refocus him by telling him to look for Jesus in it instead of looking at the people. The first visit to my church was at a Bible study. Then I began going to new converts class. And it was there where my current pastor, who was the assistant pastor at the time, was teaching. And I remember saying to myself, he believes in what he's saying. And then I was convinced that this was where I need to be. To me, he was authentic, and that was what I needed at that time. Truth and authenticity. Now, up until that time, I hadn't attended a Sunday service because to me, my perception at that time was that you needed a suit to go to Sunday service. And I didn't have any suits. But when I finally did, I found myself kind of putting on an act, trying to be like others who were around me, but it wasn't who I was then, and to this day, it's not who I am. Now, I wasn't going to go into this direction, but I am is important to God. How many times in His Word did He identify Himself as who He is? Back to the church, Jesus said where 2 or 3 are gathered in His name, there He will be in the midst of them. So look for Jesus and focus on Him. Get to know who He is through His Word, through His works in His Word, and in your own life. And some of us are following Him, some are following man, and some are, well, they'll get there someday. I pray weekly while I'm on my way to church that I'm able to see Jesus in the midst of everything going on. And as I serve in my weekly capacity, when I see believers going to the altar and newcomers getting baptized or being filled with His Spirit, I choose to lock in on that. Yeah, I see everything else, but to me, as long as God is putting it on people's hearts to seek Him out at the church that I'm a part of, I'm good with that. And I also have to add this part because it's extremely important. In the book of Acts, it says that they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, and in the breaking of bread and in prayers. And in Philippians 2:2, Paul writes and says that you be like-minded, having the same love, being on one accord and of one mind. Like-minded fellowship among believers is important. I might be saying that to myself right here. Philippians 4:8, finally, my brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. And I want to thank God for bringing me to a place in my walk to seek out wisdom and understanding. See, His grace is sufficient for me, so I have to extend that grace to you. And now I hope that was helpful to someone today. And as always, God gets the glory. He just allows us to participate in it. And I'm going to see you next time on Spiritually Speaking.